it's useless. That's Swami's. Anything else anyone wants to add?
Just adding to that, it is said, Nashreyo Niyamam Mina. So we cannot have welfare without the rules and regulations in place. So just adding.
Last week's Gita Vahini study, if you both remember, you were translating, right? Swami says for getting sugunas, you should have two things, niti and niyamam, without which the sugunas would not stand upon. I thought I mentioned that.
So then we'll go into the discourse. Swami first is talking about, anyone remembers, the mansion. Okay, who wants Rishi? What is the mansion?
So Swami talks about the 4 stages of life. That is the mansion, and each stage is a different part of person's life or how it should go. So the first stage is basically the brahmacharya, which is basically a student life full, where they are learning about different aspects of life and different things. And then the second stage is marriage, vanaprastha, grahastha, and then householder. So basically, who lives in the house, they get married, they have children, and that's that aspect of life. The third stage is vanaprastha, which is recluse. Basically, they go into themselves and they try to get a better understanding of life. And then the last stage is sannyasi, which is basically they detach from the world and they're understanding their life as I am God, I guess.
So Swami is saying this is the superstructure of life itself. Then Swami says some people have 4 stories, some people have 3 stories, some people have 2. But for all this, one is important, which is the student stage, which is the foundation, Swami says, which should not be neglected. And he's saying it's not as glamorous also. The rest of it may look very beautiful and attractive. But brahmacharya may not be very attractive. That also Swami says. So is there anything anyone would like to?
I think Swami was saying that people generally see the mansion, they do not see the punadi, which is the foundation. But the basis for that mansion is the foundation, and that is where Swami is impressing upon the brahmacharya aspect of life. And
okay, I think Swami, though he did not go into a detail, but brahmacharya means a stage where one actually moves towards the Brahman. So the direction to move towards Brahman should be the foundation, which generally should happen in childhood or when we are a studentship. Then we'll go a little further. Then Swami says once that is so that he's giving the importance of brahmacharya and what we should do. The foundation should be very strong. If that's not strong, no superstructure will last. That's what the Swami is saying. Then he moves on to seven sins. What are the 7 sins? Open book.
So one of it's being like teaching without principles, like politics without principles, educated without character, worship without devotion, wealth without effort, humanity without scriptural studies, and then yeah. Morality. Oh,
So I think we should remember this. Oh, Sairam. So we should remember this. So the 7 sins we should remember. First one. Even if we remember this and go, it's good. Business without morality, politics without principles, education without character. Fourth one. Aradhana without? No. Aradhana without tyaga. Without sacrifice. It is not translated. It's not translated. Because it was long one, I also... So the third one is worship without sacrifice. That means without cultivating a sense of sacrifice. If you worship, that's of no use. That's a sin. That's just, okay. Pardon? Yes, worship without sacrifice. Tyaga. Okay, next one. Wealth without effort. Sampada without prayatna. You don't make any effort. You want, we will invest in stocks. And our only effort is looking where the price is going. So it's a, pardon? Yes, it is the same. Swami's thing is, you should say, if you're investing, you should work. See, Swami's type of investment is not passive investment. See, he will say, if you are rich, you start an industry. You work there. You employ. Every day, morning till evening, you should work. Then the money is not sinful. Otherwise, you're stealing. So then you have responsibility to use that money, not for your personal purposes, multiple things. That also Swami covers later on. Earning wealth, what do you do with it? He says, okay, well, I don't want to jump there. So the third one is wealth without effort is a sin. Worship without sacrifice is a sin. Okay, so you had to give something. So then the next one. Yes. Very, very good. Very good. The thing is, that's also in the Middle East they call it tijari. Even wealth is also stealing is also tijari. If it is taken up as a trade, okay. So that is better than simply sitting and hoping the money will come. If that is your trade, what can you do? The entire Western civilization is built on piracy. You know what is called piracy? The entire British Empire is built on piracy. Now they are fighting the pirates in Sudan or wherever. But they were pirates to start with. Okay, but I don't want to go there.
One of the art also.
It is not, yeah, it's considered as an art.
Krishna is the head of that. Because he steals our heart.
Yes.
One of it is there.
It's like hacking.
Chittachora.
So but the thing is, they also did, when you are stealing, Robin Hood is a classic example. Even if you get money like that, it should be for a good cause, not for your personal enjoyment. So it's a lot of, see, if you don't know anything else, steal, you have to feed yourself, it's okay. Robin, it's okay. But the thing is, he did not keep anything for himself. Valmiki is a classic example. So anything with effort is important. So, but there are consequences of that, but that you have to face. Okay, but the thing is, it's not a sin. Every action has a reaction. So it is not a dharmic activity. It's a trade, but it's not necessarily dharmic. Business without already covered. Okay, so that is why even to steal you have dharma. How you steal, what you do, you try not to hurt people. So there are things like that. But but it's a worse kind of bhakti, to dvesha bhakti, like that it is. So wealth without effort is sin. We'll go to the next one. I think the next one translation is not right. Shastra jnana without manavatvam. Manavatvam and rain is shastra jnana. See, you have so that's what Swami is saying, but it's a bit of a okay. So that one you will remember. Next one. Yeah, devotion without steadfastness. Okay, which is not steady. That is also sin. Swami classifies that as a sin. Papo. Okay, so Swami is saying we should try to avoid these sins. So I think we should remember throughout our life. See, some of these things Swami is giving, I think we should remember. Okay, then we will go into next one. Yes. It's okay. He's telling there are planetary changes which is affecting the mind.
So, with those planetary changes and with that affecting the mind, then you're in that, you will still believe in God, or you still have like that belief that Swami is there and Swami is doing everything. However, your mind is still going to be wavering, no? So then how would you, is that considered a sin as well?
So Rishi is telling, planets are affecting our thinking. So if that happens, if your devotion is not steady, how does it figure in the whole scheme of things? Will it be called a sin if there's something wavering?
So, one thing Swami would always say is, when you have my anugraha, no navagraha can touch you. So in terms of what we attribute to the planets and their effect on the mind, it is finally, if we are having God's blessings, then we can overcome that. That is one part of it. But the other part of it is, what should we do to earn God's blessings? And that is where I think the aspect comes as to the mind being wavering. Now we can attribute it to a planet, or we can attribute it to our own way of approaching things. So if we have that steadfastness and firm faith and devotion in Bhagwan, and work with the thing that, Swami, I have my limitations, but you are there to take care, and work with that kind of a framework, then automatically blessings come. And when blessings comes, what Swami says again, anugraha comes, then navagraha will not touch. So that is where I think it's, what is the commitment that I am bringing to the table, rather than asking, can I ascribe it to a planet? That means I'm using a justification of something and saying that I'm doing this because of that effect, rather than I will do it despite whatever happens. That's my commitment to Swami. Then it changes the approach.
It's a very good question, very practical question is what I also felt. And many times I think even we observe that, right? Like as Swami said in the first Padyam, Swadipe, we know the answer also. If you really observe ourselves, if you are aware of ourselves, you see that whenever it is full moon, you'll observe your mind is much stronger in whichever effort you put, whether it is good or bad. It can be downhill or uphill. It will be so easy for you when it is nearer to the full moon, because moon is directly a reflection of our mind, is what Swami says, right? So if we observe all this, the planetary effects or whatever we may call, it is all part of the external nature, which is Prakriti. And who is the head of Prakriti? Swami. He is Madhava, right? Madhava means he is the husband of Prakriti. If we are able to catch on to him, like how he said, there is no other answer actually for that. Answer is again the same, but how we look at it. How are we constantly aware that we are getting affected by Prakriti? Because we will be affected because we are part of Prakriti. And hence we are getting affected. So we should be aware that we will be affected, but when I am affected, what am I holding on to? Am I going in flow with Prakriti, or am I holding on to the feet of Lord? That should be our, at least that is what I try to practice. I thought I'll just share.
Just on this topic, every planet is positive as well as negative. Whether even Jupiter can be positive or negative. So, if it's our choice which aspect which we take. Okay, so the thing is, generally it becomes painful when only you do not use it properly. For example, if we are even put in a prison, if you resist being in prison, you will again and again fall back into the prison. But the prison also can help you in many ways to discipline yourself, improve yourself, and then you will be released. So the thing is, any circumstance, including the planetary, is the same thing. And as they have already discussed, God is present. He is also present. So why are we not giving him credit? So when planets are there, God is also present. It all depends where we look, that is what we get.
I'm getting tempted to add. So if you see possibly like a jailer versus a prisoner, their horoscope could nearly be the same, right? Because both are in jail. It is on which side of the jail that they are, that matters. Right? Both will have, because this person is also spending his time in jail, the other person is also spending, but it's just a perspective of where they are on the thing. That is one. And secondly, they say that when a fisherman casts his net, right? He casts his net to catch the fishes that are further away. So if you have to escape the net that he casts, what do the fish do? Is the smart ones come closer to the boat, closer to his feet. So he throws the net farther away and not once closer to his feet. So if you hold on to Swami's feet, right, you will escape the net of that Maya that he throws, whether it is planet or some other thing, whatever you'll just escape that. So it's just more holding on to Swami's feet, chanting his name, and being in good company and striving, then automatically he will take care.
There's so much, each one we can discuss, but it's okay. Whatever we discuss, I think I want to discuss it as well as possible, so it becomes practically useful for us. I think that's the most important thing. Then Swami goes on to what? Uncle, you want to say anything? Uncle has come. So.
Sorry, I'm just not in track. So.
No problem. You want to say anything, you can say.
Well, these questions arise. One is faith. You're bringing Swami at the same time, you're bringing no faith. So, this is a question we always go through. Swami says, oh, do this, do this, do this, do this. If you have faith, you follow it. If you don't have faith, all the questions will come to you. Basically, it's on faith, right? So, I just want to say that.
Thank you very much. Samshayatma Vinasya, doubt.
Sorry. I was like scrolling through YouTube the other day, and then there was something during where Krishna was like trying to like plan how to defeat the Kauravas, and asked like who we should take out first. And Yudhishthira says Bhishma because he's like the power and stuff. But Krishna says he has to take they had to take out Saguni first because even without knowing, he's been devoted to Krishna by always thinking of him. Like, how does that work? Yeah, like, because he's always thinking like, oh, Krishna did that, Krishna did this, Krishna's the reason of that. So like, even without knowing, he's always chanting his name. So is that considered devotion too?
See, Shakuni was the strategist on the Duryodhana's Kaurava's side. And his opponent was Krishna on the other side. So he was always thinking, what will Krishna do? Can I outsmart him? That was Shakuni's thing. Because of that, Bhishma and all, more than anyone, Shakuni thought of Krishna more. Because he knew Krishna is the tough one to handle. As long as Krishna is there, Pandavas will somehow win. So he was trying to outsmart Krishna. So that's why Krishna in some place, when Dharmaja goes to play the dice game, somebody is asking, Krishna, why you didn't help them? Then Krishna says, apparently he's supposed to have said, Duryodhana was smart, he asked Shakuni. Dharmaja was foolish, he didn't ask me. Okay. I don't think so, because Dharmaja was, in those days, many people think he was scared or no, he wanted to play. No, Dharmaraja did not want to play the dice game. Though he liked dice game, he did not want to, out of that he didn't go. The problem is, and in those days you should understand, people think Dharmaraja was foolish, he wagered everyone and all that. No, he was actually following Dharma. In those days, a Kshatriya, once he is challenged, he has to accept the challenge. If somebody invites, he has to go. Otherwise, you are scared. You are running away. So Dharmaja was once somebody asked, he has to go. But the problem is, you should, you are as a king, you should take your supporters also with you. Duryodhana, if he had played the dice, Dharmaja would have won. When Duryodhana is asking Shakuni, he also could have asked somebody else. And Krishna would have played, no problem. Krishna is capable, but he did not ask. So it's the same thing. Then you end up in trouble.
It's triggering a couple of thoughts. So one is, coming to what you were saying, sister, one is Shakuni's constant remembrance of Krishna. There's supposed to have been a story where there's a mirror, and whoever looks into the mirror, whoever is the favorite person or of that person will appear in that mirror. Whoever is constantly remembering. So when everybody has their turn to open, Lord Krishna opens, and everybody is surprised to see Shakuni's face come in that mirror. And that is because he is constantly strategizing how to pull down the Pandavas. But actually, if you go back and see, it was Shakuni's strategy to pull down the whole Kuru race, not just Pandavas, because his sister Gandhari gets married to Dhritarashtra, the blind king, and throughout her life she had to wear that. Every time he sees Gandhari, it infuriates Shakuni so much that his sister had to lead the life of a blind lady because of that, and she was literally like forced into, because those days when alliances come, you have to take the alliance because of who is asking, kind of a thing. So he plans from the beginning for the destruction of not just Pandava. He knows that if he challenges the Pandavas, the Kauravas will go down. That's how that whole thing is. Coming back to Yudhishthira's thing, they say that Yudhishthira's chariot would always be 1 foot above the ground in terms of traveling. It would not even touch the ground, because that was the dharma that Dharmaraja followed at every point in time. The only time his chariot wheel touched the earth was Ashwatthama Hata Kunjaraha, when he doubted what he had to say to Lord Krishna's response. That was the one time it touched the earth, because he had that doubt. Else his life was spotless. And that is where, when in Shalya, when they are in incognito, I think when the king throws the dice on his face and it hits him, and the drop of blood is supposed to fall there. Draupadi, who is Sairandri, she will run and hold the bowl so that the drop of blood of Dharmaraja doesn't fall on that land, because if it falls, then that whole country literally will lose its kind of existence. That is the life that Dharmaraja lived. So we always keep thinking, oh, he's a weak fellow, he did this. No, if he has lived that life, he is called Dharmaraja because he is the son of Yamadharmaraja, right? So
the problem Dharmaraja was, at that point time he said, I will do it. That, ego to some extent, you can say ego in the sense, I don't need God's help. He won't say, he felt it is his duty to play. He's not devious, unfortunately. But it is fortunate because that's why Krishna was close to him. It may practically look like foolish thing, but Dharmaraja was not worried. Because he said, if I am doing the right thing, dharmo rakshati rakshita. So he was confident of that. He didn't do anything wrong. He just did everything based on dharma. That way at the end he was the victor. Okay? Maybe after a lot of struggle. Okay? No short-term gain. It was a long-term gain. We'll go on to the next one.
So, moving on further into the discourse, Swami talks about you have to act according to what you are. So, he was addressing the students, he was mentioning, towards the end, he was giving examples of a story where a person dresses himself as a Shankaracharya, comes into the court, and he refuses gifts, whereas the next day he comes as a dancer where he performs and astonishes a lot of people. And when king offers him a lot of money or coins, he simply asks for more. And when king asks why yesterday he did not accept and today he is asking for more money, he said, yesterday I was a Shankaracharya, I was a celibate, and I was not, and according to the dharma of being a celibate, I cannot accept. Today I am a dancer, so I need more money. So Swami is coming to a point where, as students, the students needs to play a role. As Grihastha, a Grihastha needs to play their role, and Swami calls it as Vesha. So according to the Vesha, you have to act accordingly. And yeah, that is what I remember.
And then when you reach the last stage of sannyasi, right, aren't you kind of stepping back from your responsibilities of the other three? If you already have a family and you later on in life you decide to go towards God and you're leaving your family behind, isn't that sinful? I don't know.
So now we have gone into Varnashrama, Ashrama Dharma we have gone to. So her question is, if you take sannyasa, aren't you giving up your responsibilities?
I think even with taking sannyasa, there's some prerequisites. For example, you have to have if you're married, you have to have the permission of your wife, and you have to ensure that your family's well-being is secured before you renounce. So it's not necessarily that you're shunning responsibilities. It's just you're at this stage where you have to begin to renunciate stuff. But then you're not just letting go of it cold turkey, basically. You have to make sure that everything's steady and all your responsibilities are fulfilled, basically, I think.
Anyone else would like to?
This is another problem of wanting the mic. in light of, it's gone exactly. So, so the thing is, if we see the life of Shankaracharya, right, when he was some AD, 8th century AD, or Shankaracharya, 8th century AD, right? I think that is the time, or much earlier. 2 century BC. Oh, 2 century BC? Okay. Sorry, my bad.
There are multiple dates given for Shankaracharyas. The Kanchi Kamakoti date is 2nd century BC. All the other mathas say that he is later, 6th century. Swami, in his discourse in 1973, he has given 2nd century BC as the date. And he gave the year, the month, the tithi. I was able to cast the horoscope using that. And it is 2nd century BC. Okay. In 1973, it's the first discourse of Samashavas.
Thanks, Anna, that's helpful. No, I was just saying, because we think that if he's a sannyasi, he's giving up responsibility, right? 2nd century BC, Shankaracharya came. We speak about that person even to this day. That is the impact they created while being a renunciant. Right? So, sannyasi does not mean giving up responsibility. It is taking up the responsibility of the whole world. It's not just one family. Because we think they are giving up their child, their wife and their family and going, no. When they are what they are giving up is their desire for the world in their mind. They are actually embracing the whole world, and that is why we speak of them to this day. Imagine the responsibility they took up, establishing the mutts, establishing literally anything concerning the whole thing of Advaita, Vedanta, the essence of the Vedas, whatever we understand to this day came because of that responsibility which they took up. So it is the way we perceive the two sides of the coin. You can see the tail or the head, but actually it is the head that literally they took care of that. In fact, Swami would, whenever he addresses Shankaracharya, he will say Shankarlavaru. He will not say Shankara. That is the respect that Avatar gave to Shankaracharya, who was a renunciant. I'm just using the same example that actually they take the responsibility of the whole world.
Because Shankaracharya's story is because he was a 14-year-old kid, only son for the mother. He took sannyasa and left. And the mother, so you can imagine my mother, no one to look after. Okay. But the mother asked only for one boon. When I'm dying, you come. He said, I will. Which he came. So but he took it up because he thought the world, the country, the dharma needed him. And he worked hard for it. So sannyasa, as he said, is taking the entire world as your family. You are not narrow. Swami is talking actually in his own discourse. He says people earn money, they want to keep it for themselves and their family. And then at the end, Swami says, thieves will take it, or the children who will be dushputras. The children who will turn out to be negative. So, wealth is received not for keeping it for your own. It is for the welfare of the world. So, that is very, very important. And we think, no, we have to look after our family. Then what about the rest? Because the money which you are using is actually coming from outside. It has to be in circulation. So that Swami is covering that also. Just like the blood circulation. Swami is covering that. That is why it goes to Aradhana without Tyaga. If you are praying to God, Swami, give me, give me. You are always asking. So Swami is saying, you ask for family, you ask for children, you ask for job, you ask for money. Nothing gives happiness. Tyage naike amritattva manashu. By giving, because we think money is giving. No, God is giving us joy. Money is also given by God. So that is Aradhana. So Swami is.
Swami comes up with the story of this Krishna. That is what Swami, that is when Swami comes up with the story of, Swami narrates the story of Krishna, the Gopika, who was asking for help from Krishna to load, because she was carrying 2 pots and she wants help from Krishna to carry the, to put the second pot on top of the first pot. Krishna refuses, and this Gopika was very sad. And there is another Gopika who eventually helps her. But what happens is, she carries this pot to her to the destination, and at that time Krishna comes for help. When this Gopi asks Krishna why Krishna is coming for help at that time and why he did not do it before, Krishna answers that it is God's nature or God's duty to unburden people and not to add burden. So that is when I think that is what Swami comes up, and then probably is that where he connects with the klesha?
Yeah, so the thing is, we are all like the Gopika who is asking Swami, load some more weight, and he doesn't help. Because we don't know that it's a burden which we are actually asking for. And the Lord doesn't even answer the prayer. But when you ask, Lord, I want to remove the burden, he will come right away.
No, you need not even ask.
You don't need to
Gopika.
ask. That is his job.
That is, he cannot help doing that. He tells, you did not even ask me. Because he was following Gopika and she is carrying it. And as soon as she reaches home, he drops it down. He helps her get it down. Without even asking. That is the nature of God. So God is also actually slave of devotee. And the same thing should be shown by devotee also.
So we'll go to the klesha, 5 kleshas.
The 5 that... No, not really. But there was avidya, abhinava, astita, raga, and dvesha. So yeah, these are 5 ones. So avidya it's from ignorance, basically. So, and he gives the Sanskrit quote from the Vedas talking about the biggest fool is the one who associates himself with the body and he doesn't realize its true nature. That's one. Yeah, murkha. I forgot the actual quote. Dehati.
This actually Swami is quoting from the 11th chapter of Bhagavatam. 19th chapter of Bhagavatam. Murko Dehatyam, which is Uddhava is asking lots of questions. One of them is, who is the fool? So Krishna is answering, Murko Dehadyaham Buddhi. Dehadi Aham Buddhi.
The other 4 are like...
Somewhere. Anyone else? Some? Abhinava klesha. First was so avidya kleshas, that is not knowing who you are, is the avidya. When you think that you are the body, that is the first klesha, which is the cause of suffering. Okay. The second one is abhinava klesha. Immaturity? Yes. What is the immaturity?
Like when you think you know everything, but you don't have the capacity to understand that you're still learning, and you teach without knowing the real understanding of what you're teaching.
Swami defines Abhinava Klesha as, despite understanding that mind is the cause of all these sorrows, man is not able to give up his identity with mind. So the first one is identity with body, which is Avidya Klesha. The second one is mind. So that's identity with mind.
Okay. Because mind is the cause of all problems. Mano moolam idam jagat. Whatever comes and goes is because of the mind. That's what Swami is quoting, Mano moolam idam jagat. That is Abhinava Klesha. Abhinava means, Nava means new. Abhinava means fresh, new. So that means we are always immature, like as if we don't know. We are starting again and again without the knowledge. You make a mistake, you suffer, then again you make the same mistake, you suffer. That is because the mind causes same problem. That so
Same class.
you are in the same class. That Abhinava Klesha. Do the same mistake again and again.
It's like, what about insanity, right? Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Exactly. You're doing the same thing and expecting or hoping for another result. That is Abhinava Klesha. Very well put. So the mind runs, takes you and you run up with the mind. Again and again, same problem.
Comes creatively also.
That's
Different forms. So you-
So Abhinava Klesha. Astita Klesha.
Unsteadiness.
Unsteadiness, which is you are not steady. That causes problem. The third one is raga.
Astita places because of senses.
Senses.
Body.
Body, mind, senses. Sitaram has really studied.
No, Swami is like so structured.
Swami is very, very
Here,
structured.
there is going.
Then he is going to
In the beginning, not in the beginning, in the middle of the discourse, Swami also mentions Janma Dukkham, Jara Dukkham, Jaya Dukkham, Punah, Chaya Dukkham, Punah Punaha, Antyakale Maha Dukkham, Tasma Jagrata Jagrata. And he continues that with the next one, Mata Nasti, Pita Nasti, Nasti Bandhu Sahodara, Artham Nasti, Graham Nasti, Tasmat Jagrata Jagrata. So he connects that and with the
This is,
Astita Klesha.
he has gone back to the Vesha of the Shankaracharya.
Yeah, the role is kind of he actually sets the premise and then comes to the klesha.
Exactly.
Actually,
One is Vesha, one is Dvesha. Dvesha, Klesha. Because Vesha also, some of the mistakes we did not fix in the discourse, but it's okay, it's part of the journey. Because it was so much and I was rushing through Sita. It's a long discourse. It requires even to do it properly 2-3 weeks.
So many bhajans, so many songs.
I know. So it's 11 o'clock. I think should we stop? No, two kleshas, Raga Klesha and Dvesha Klesha. Raga and Dvesha come back to back. Raga is attachment, liking something, want. One is Dvesha is hatred. So all these three causes this problem. Attachment is also a problem. Hatred is also a problem. All of them give us suffering. And okay, very good question. The question she is asking is, how are we to live without emotions? Like a jadam, he said. So what is the problem with emotion and attachment? Let's understand that. What is the difference between emotion and attachment? So I think we should understand this. Only then we can overcome attachment.
Attachment is the cause, emotion is the effect. Because you are having attachment.
Attachment is the cause, emotion is the effect. One definition. Anyone else? Is emotion bad? That's the question you're asking. Is emotion bad? Huh?
It's not.
So it's not.
If it is directed towards
So then what is attachment? How is it different? Okay, I will give the simple answer, okay? Emotion, staying for too long, becomes attachment. You cook food. Food by itself is not bad. You keep the food for a little while, it becomes spoiled. So the emotion, anger comes. Anger is not bad. But anger should disappear like written on water. Anger is only comes for an effect for a particular purpose. Next moment it should not be there. If it stays, it's a problem. See, you like some sweet, somebody gives, you eat it. Nothing wrong. You are eating, it is very, very nice. Problem. You see, so emotion is not bad. Senses are not bad. But you should not dwell on it.
What you get attached? See, I think Swami gives example of the kerchief. The longer you hold the kerchief, right, the pain comes. If you just use it and leave it, then you're not attached to it. As long as you're attached to it, there is pain associated with it. But if you're holding on to God, you get more bliss. That is the emotion also. That is also emotion. Yes?
That because it doesn't cause problem.
Then it won't
Because it is beyond that, okay? Even anger. Somebody hit you, okay? You got angry, okay? Then what happens to us, That person hit and went. I go home and I will hit myself again and again and feel angry. You understand? Oh, they said, that fellow only told once. That fellow only slapped you once. But I am sitting and slapping myself and feeling angry. That is attachment to that problem. So the first anger is not bad. That's an instant reaction. No, nothing wrong. But you hitting yourself, somebody throw a chapel. I pick the chapel up and go home and hit it again and again. So that is attachment. Okay, that is the difference between emotion and now you understand? Don't let it linger too long.
Another analogy to the same thing. They say that this mind, right? You have a plow, like a furrow, like what? If the emotion comes, you just allow it to go through, like what Anna is saying. You just experience at that point in time, it goes through, it is fine. If I mount the furrow, then I will start plowing the field with that emotion, which becomes the attachment. That is where it becomes strong in your mind and you continue to hold the kerchief or hold that chapel.
It is Abhinava Klesha.
Very bad. I will finish bad. Why? Oh, 10 years ago, 14 years. Photos we should not take. Period. I know where you are going. Because what happens, you are looking at the photo, you are not looking at the person in the front. You miss this opportunity. What about the photo in front of you? That is the problem. It's an industry, we are all subscribing to that. So there's another story, funny story I will leave. There were 3 monks who were going somewhere. Okay, they were crossing a river. And there was a young woman, she wanted to cross also, but she did not swim or anything like that. So she asked, please help. So one of the young monks, he said, okay, you climb on me, and he carried. They crossed the river, and she said, okay, she thanked, and they walked away. They walked for 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. One of the other fellow asked, you are a brahmachari. You are a monk. How can you touch a woman? So this first fellow said, oh, you are still carrying her? I dropped her there. You understand? You are still carrying her. So we should not carry anything too long. Move on. If you click a picture, delete it.
So you dropped her in the river itself.
No, on the side. Okay. I think that's very important. Okay, Sairam, we'll close. I know it's very interesting study cycle, but you have to hold it. Okay, we'll close. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Sairam.